Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have to get all this stuff set up. We've got a little bit of time left, so I am going to be reading poetry from you for the Poetic License 5320 open mic, the home edition, because normally I'd be at Recycled Reads sharing this since everybody can do three poems in rounds, round-robin rounds of poetry. But I'm hoping, because I set up a Facebook events page, that people are putting up posts like mad. Right now I'm doing live video feeds that I will put up to that page when I am done with this and the open mic is over, which is 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I might run a little bit over, but normally the store would close by 6, so we'd have to go. So I'm going to read a couple of times for you from this Scarce Publications Down in the Dirt magazine July to December 2019 issue collection book, and it is called Legacy. Legacy. I think this is the coolest cover, and then they're titled after pieces that are within the volume. It seemed entirely fitting to have this building, or this photograph of an open book that is made out of concrete that was on display at a Buddhist temple here in Austin. And also for any of my Chicago friends who happen to be tuning in right now, yes, I know I'm inside, but it's really warm here already, which is why I'm not covered up in coats, because we don't have seasons the way they do in Chicago. So welcome to the scorching weather for the next couple of months, lucky us. So I thought I would share with you some poetry from this book, from the climate change section of this book. There are a number of pieces that are related to a performance art show that was done in Chicago, March 18th, 03, a long time ago, 17 years ago, holy cow, that was called Death Comes in Threes. So these are a bunch of pieces that flow together from that show. I hope you like them. This first one is the morning of July 11th. And you know, because I miss my Tom Woodruff, who hosts a monthly community poetry reading at Half Brace Books here in Austin, he would always come in with a bunch of reading glasses, and like 8 in different colors, and I would put them on, and I'd have to put them away from my eyes because I have to be able to see people because I can't see through reading glasses, and I'd be like, how do these look? How do these look? And I would always do that jokingly with them. So in homage to him, I said, John, do you have a pair of reading glasses? So I got these cool Dirk ones, and seeing if it works with my poet hat. I hope you guys like it. But as I said, these are a bunch of pieces that were from the show Death Comes in Threes. This first one, and they're prose pieces mostly. This one's called The Morning of July 11th. I don't remember what happened the day of my quote-unquote death number 3. It was just a day, a normal summer day, a day like any other. I remember seeing the fireworks for the 4th of July in Chicago on the street with my roommate, Eugene, and I remember that I was wearing a white shirt and it started to rain, so I had to lean my body so my shoulders were at Eugene's back so I wouldn't get drenched in my white shirt. It was Saturday, June 11th, and I apparently was going over to my parents' house where my sister Sandy lived to go swimming because it was sunny. After getting on the Kennedy, I took I-55 southwest of Chicago and exited Route 45 south so I could drive to the suburbs and see my family. The rest of the accounts come from eyewitnesses. That and what the people at the hospital told my mother. I was at the intersection of 95th and Route 45. I was at the end of a long line of people waiting at a red light. The light had just turned green, but you know how long it takes for people to get moving once the lights change, so we're all just sitting there waiting to get moving just as the light had changed. Now, at this point in the road, the intersection was at the bottom of a hill, so if you were coming south toward the intersection, you'd see the light well before you'd see the street. This apparently was the case for the driver of a sedan. He apparently saw the green light and continued speeding on the 55-mile-per-hour road. As I said, I was at the end of a line of cars, so I would get caught in the crossfire. Accounts state that there was a motorcyclist in front of me and a van in front of him. Eyewitnesses said that they saw me looking at my rearview mirror in my car. I must have seen him speeding car coming toward me. I couldn't move my car into the empty left lane next to me. There was no room. I could only guess that I turned the wheels of my car to the left so that I wouldn't hit the motorcyclist, whom I'm sure would have died from being hit. Originally, in part, I got away by traveling, but apparently, after waiting to get away again, this time from some stranger in a car, I was struck and all went black. The next piece, I should be waving to new people that are coming in, is called 12:30, July 11th. So what happened was that the speeding car hit the back of my car, knocking me into oncoming traffic because my wheels were turned. A van from the opposite lane of traffic then hit my front passenger side corner and dragged my car for a bit. Police accounts say that there were skid marks from my tires for 108 feet. Yeah, well, how is that second driver supposed to know someone would appear in front of him like that as he was driving? Yeah, how can you blame him? To break the news to my mother, they had to rummage through what things they could find of mine from the car, rummage through the pockets of my clothing. My purse was buried under the seat, so they got a phone number and they called, and my mother answered. "Do you know someone who drives a red sedan?" they asked. "Yes, I do," my mother answered. "Did something happen to her?" The hospital chaplain informed her that there was an accident and that they would like her to come and identify a body. Yes, identify a body. My mother got off the phone to rush to the hospital. She was sure I was dead. When my mother and sister arrived at the hospital, my mother was thrilled when they walked into a room and saw me with tons of tubes sticking out all around me. "She's not dead," my mother exclaimed as they went to see my lying unconscious body. My mother even commented that I looked so nice. She said I looked so nice because I even had eye makeup on. My sister had to tell her that I wasn't wearing makeup, that I had 2 black eyes. I was unconscious for 11 days. The coma lasted 2 weeks. The day of the crash, they wanted to be sure no one else was in the car with me because there was metal and car parts from the passenger side of the car jutting all the way to where I was sitting as I drove. For all intents and purposes, the passenger seat was gone, which might explain the injuries on the right side of my head. They kept a monitor on my skull for the end of my unconscious spell to monitor the amount of fluid around my brain. I had a little indentation in my forehead at the hairline from having that attached to my head. You know, for my own good. I was told that I had no broken limbs, but 3 skull fractures. They had to make sure that they all set properly because one on my forehead and on the side here, they had to be properly set so that my right eye wouldn't have any problems. This isn't in that writing, but that thing is called an intracranial pressure monitor. It's not in there, but I know what it's called, so I thought I'd share that with you. In every car accident, there are actually 3 crashes. The first is when one car hits another car. The second is when the outside of the human body hits the interior of the car. The third is when, within the human body, organs crash into each other and crash into your own bones. These are from the Death Comes in Threes show that was in Chicago in 2003. This is a poem from that called Their Crutches. Should they tell you in advance what it's like to go through what you're about to go through, having an operation, they'll try keep you drugged, you'll be unconscious in a hospital bed for longer than you want, but this is what's best for you. That's what they'll tell you. Be tired of being in the hospital. No one will know what to say. You need rest. You need help, even though you're sure you don't need their crutches. It won't be easy. I'm sure that I'll visit, and I'm sure that you'll be fine. I know you'll want to hear that. A few more pieces of mini prose within the show. Shortly after I regained consciousness, my family told me they were slightly concerned for two reasons. One was that since they couldn't find identification on me when I was first brought in, instead of calling me Jane Doe, they nicknamed me Elvira Doe. The second thing they noticed was that the people in the hospital handed back all my dirty, disheveled, ripped up, torn clothes, and the only thing that was missing was a bra. Hi to new people coming in. I see you coming in. And my little icons tells me to wave at you guys. And I haven't said anything to Tressa, but I gotta go, Tressa, I heart you. I'll get back to my reading. So as I start to regain consciousness, I'm stuck in this Christ hospital and I want to get out. I remember one of the first chances I had to leave. I was lying in the bed. They expected me to sleep there. I was probably barely conscious. I doubt I could even stand, but I tried to get out of bed and I fell out of bed. And the nurses had to come get me and they had to call my parents. I was fine, but it was their policy to call. But because they were afraid of my falling again, they put a metal bar around the side of my bed. I don't know, it was like a guardrail to keep pedestrians away from something dangerous, or a zoo fence to keep people so they could feel safe while they watch the trapped animals they have on display for you. So they had this metal rail around my bed, but that wasn't the worst part. They also put a harness on me at night, a straitjacket, so to speak, probably so that I wouldn't be able to use my arms to help me leave. They kept a wristband with my stats on my wrist so that if I started to wander off, they'd know where I belonged to keep me in place. I hated that damn wristband. I'd rip it off probably almost daily and they'd have to make a new one and strap it on me, you know, to know where I belong. I don't know why they had to keep a straitjacket, a harness on me. Were they trying to keep me in place? Once I regained enough of my consciousness back, and all I could wonder was how are they going to stop me? I just wanted to be able to sleep at night, though without being restricted, without my arms being bound. I finally managed to contort myself out of it one night, not so that I could escape, but just so that I could feel more sane in this place. The next morning, the nurses didn't understand why this harness was wrapped up on my nightstand. My mother saw it wrapped up there, and she thought that I had to have done that, and she had to think that if I was that cunning enough, I must be getting better. This poem is called Someone Give Me the Answers, written shortly after the accident. My dictionary is older than my schooling. My encyclopedia is older than I am. I've been looking for answers to what I thought were simple questions, and the people who are supposed to be smart don't know what to say. When I regained consciousness, I was given the same meal 3 times a day. I was physically strapped into my bed. No one helped me, even then. This book, this one, Down in the Dirt, is a magazine that I run from Scars Publications, and you will have things from performance art shows, past ones. That was from the cafe in Chicago. I see a woman that is watching me that is at Gallery Cabaret, where I ran an open mic for over half a decade, and it still runs on with Dave Getchuk. I feel heartbroken that they're in quarantine mode still, which we are as well, which is why my open mic here in Austin is right now from my library doing a home edition. But I just want to let you know there are lots of things to be able to share on these things. I don't know the time. I might be able to have time for one more reading from this book for you guys before the end of my open mic comes. But I hope everyone is remaining creatively inclined and remaining safe. And thank you all for watching. Thank you.